It's a cheap way to make a bit of quick money.
The real money, which is expected to be saved right across the community, will come with the abolition of time-consuming customs checks at borders. Delays now cost businesses an estimated £17 billion a year.
A lot of people have done a lot of work preparing themselves. Businesses have done so, certainly the sensible ones, ready for the kick-off.
It'll be some time, if ever, before it's as easy to move around the real Europe as this model village here in Brussels. But the establishment of the single market, starting officially on January the 1st, is seen as a significant step towards creating an economic union, with the community trading as one, not 12. Libby Wiener, ITN, Brussels.
Well, Robert Hall is in Southampton now. Robert, it's going to make quite a difference.
Certainly is, Carol. Let's start with the basics, which is that duty-free allowance. Here's your current allowance: 300 cigarettes, 1.5 litres of spirits, 5 litres of wine, 50 litres of beer. In a couple of days' time, you'll barely be able to fit your new allowance into an average car because you'll be able to bring back 800 cigarettes, 10 litres of spirits, 90 litres of wine and 110 litres of beer. And as Libby said, if you can prove it's for your own use, you can actually bring back more than that.
But aren't traders here going to be badly affected?
Well, the signs are that traders are taking their own initiatives, and not only traders. This ferry behind me is one of a number that are going on booze cruises, specially tailored to cross-channel shopping. In Dover, they've launched something called the White Cliffs Welcome, which is teaching traders or encouraging them to learn other languages so that they can welcome Europeans to shops which actually, in some cases, have more competitive prices than those over the water.
Thank you, Robert. Have a nice evening. A 28-year-old man has appeared in a Liverpool court charged with attempting to murder policewoman Leslie Harrison. Stephen Doyle from Everton also faces 7 other charges. He was remanded in custody until the end of next month.
After a third night in hospital, WPC Harrison is said to be improving but still in intensive care. Leslie, filmed here after a previous attack, has told her family that she will return to work. Her bravery has been praised by the Prime Minister in a telephone call to her parents. The attack in Wavertree, which nearly killed her, is the 4th in her 5-year career. Today, a 28-year-old unemployed man from Liverpool appeared before the city's magistrates following the incident. Stephen Doyle, who was also taken to hospital after the arrest, appeared in court with a black eye. His hand was in a bandage and he had a cut on his chin. A total of 8 charges were read out against him, including attempted murder, 1 wounding, 3 of attempted wounding, and 1 of taking a taxi unlawfully. He was remanded in custody until the 27th of January. Anya Seetharam, ITN, at Liverpool Magistrates Court.
President Bush says he'll hold a New Year summit with President Yeltsin to sign the START II treaty on reducing long-range nuclear weapons. Mr. Bush said the treaty was good for all mankind. The 2 leaders will meet in the Russian Black Sea resort of Sochi this weekend. Britain's charities are having a tough time because of the recession. Some of the biggest and best known have suffered a dramatic slump in donations. A new study says people are giving less but relying on charities for help more than ever before.
Another 50 pence for Bernardo's, but the charity shops have suffered along with the rest of the high street this year. It's thought that donations to British charities declined for the first time in 1992. Bernardo's income fell so much it had to dip into nearly £2 million of its reserves.
It's getting harder for people to exist in their day-to-day lives. They have to work out their own priorities. If there's only so much to go around, they have to decide who to give it to and how much to give.
With less money to go round, charities are increasingly spending more, persuading us they should have it. In the last 5 years, the 5 biggest charities have greatly increased their budgets for fundraising and advertising.
Some may be turning to new forms of fundraising income, but at the end of the day there is a limit to how many new forms of income can be found.
TV commercials like this one for Childline are an increasingly useful way of getting a slice of the charity cake.
Hello, you're through to Childline.
This one was made for nothing, but other charities will be spending much more on their ad campaigns next year and expecting to receive much less in return.
Now, it was the storyline of a hit movie, but no one ever expected to see it for real. Police in Chicago have arrested a couple who left their 2 young daughters at home over Christmas while they went on a beach holiday. In the film Home Alone, a small boy is left behind by his parents while they go on vacation.
They've been called America's most hated couple, arrested in Chicago after getting back from a holiday in Mexico. They left their 2 young daughters home alone over Christmas. It's a case that's attracted widespread condemnation from the public here because of the success of the Home Alone movies.
What else could we be forgetting?
Our troubles will be ours.
Kevin! 9-year-old Nicole and 4-year-old Diana were left to fend for themselves over Christmas while their parents sunbathed on a beach in Acapulco. They never once called home to check on their children.
Time I would feel really bad, pretty wondering what they were doing and where they are.
The family home was clean and well stocked with plenty of food for the children, but their plight came to light when the smoke alarm in the house went off after their parents had left, and they called in the emergency services. The neighbors were shocked.
I just let the kids in the house and said, you know, where's your mom and dad? Oh, they're in Mexico.
They can't take care of their children. What are these people really like? What really is going on?
The children have been made wards of court and are staying with their grandmother. The parents have been charged with child abandonment, cruelty and endangerment. They're now staying in Kane County Jail. David Chater, ITN, in Washington.
The main news again. Foreign Secretary Douglas Hurd has warned Serbia that Britain is ready to use force to prevent a full-scale war in the Balkans. Record amounts of cash withdrawn from banks before Christmas as talk of an end to the recession continues. And thousands of Britons are planning spending sprees on the continent. All trade barriers are being abolished on January the 1st. And that's Wednesday's early evening news. Till 5:40 tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Hello, good evening. Well, the cold really did bite hard today. In fact, early on it was actually warmer in parts of Shetland at 3 degrees than down in Surrey, -8. And the coldest temperatures of all were reserved for the borders, -12 or a bone-biting 10 degrees Fahrenheit. But the good news to cheer us all up is the fact it's very much getting milder overnight. Now, this is the way our Met Office satellite sequence explains things. Basically, it's because of cloud moving in from the west, heralding a change for the new year. And with that cloud comes weather fronts. The first one giving off the odd burst of rain, not amounting to anything very much at all, but the second one being the more significant one, an occluded front, and that really represents unsettled weather ahead. As for tonight, it's very much a case of cloudy skies. We could see bits and pieces of rain as well as sleet in the far northwest, and then the important thing, freezing fog troubling the north and east of Scotland and England, as well as East Anglia. But that's very much early on, because as the night wears on, temperatures will recover again, and in fact we ought to end the night on a warmer note than during the day today. So on to tomorrow's weather. For England and Wales, very much cloudy skies. We could see bits and pieces of rain, drizzle, even sleet around western coasts there, and the odd burst of brightness showing through. On to Northern Ireland and Scotland, cloudy skies in Northern Ireland, some rain and possibly sleet for Scotland, but that brighter weather following on behind. And then during the course of the day, the brighter weather slowly sinks southwards, but then we get even more unsettled weather behind that. Temperature-wise, markedly milder than today, a high of 7, which is 45 Fahrenheit. Altogether, a better day for getting out and about and walking off those Christmas successes. That's all from me. Here's the summary.
Hello, good evening to you. A court's been told that an undercover police detective saved the life of a colleague in a car accident in which a motorist died and was then arrested for drink driving. Richmond magistrates heard that DC Christopher Carter had been drinking real ale for almost 5 hours as he waited to take part in an operation to smash a drugs ring. As he drove away from the pub, a fellow detective in a separate car collided with another vehicle driven by a father of 4 who died at the scene. DC Carter dragged the other officer to safety, but was then breath tested and found to be over the limit. The detective, who's based at Tottenham Court Road Police Station, got a 1-year driving ban and a £280 fine. A new survey says teenagers have had their dreams shattered by the recession. Nearly half of all the young people questioned have witnessed the effects of unemployment firsthand and feel their future looks equally bleak.
4 in 10 of the youngsters surveyed saw family or friends hit by redundancy. For 1 in every 10, it was their father. The survey was a follow-up of one carried out after the general election. Entitled Major's Children, it found many 13 and 17-year-olds had found 1992 deeply depressing, but had bounced back.
I thought it's been dreadful. People said it was going to be a good year, but I think it was terrible.
But the experts were impressed by the resilience of young people.
The most interesting thing, I think, from my point of view, the thing that came out of the survey, was the fact that they now see light at the end of the tunnel, but it's the Channel Tunnel. They're looking to Europe. They're very much Euro kids.
The RAC is warning that many drivers are unprepared for the introduction of a tough new MOT test. From the new year, bodywork mirrors and windscreens will feature on the checklist.
From January the 1st, the motorist's annual nightmare, the MOT test, gets tougher. Strict new guidelines introduced by the EC are expected to take many motorists by surprise. Diesel vehicles face the biggest changes. The RAC has welcomed the more stringent test, but says it's unfair on motorists because it hasn't been publicised.
There are a couple of things that maybe the motorists won't be aware of. And one is if your windscreen is obscured. So if you've got big stickers on your windscreen with Sharon and John, you may fail your test. So people should look out for that. The other thing is if you've got a customised registration plate. And by that I mean if the letters are too small or too close together, again, you may fail your test.
Now, if the sales have put you in the mood to splash out, the London International Boat Show has a few ideas to soak up spare cash. An ocean-going super yacht is the largest exhibit. The price, £600,000. The show opens at Earl's Court on January the 7th. Finally, a duck is recovering after being rescued by firefighters from a frozen lake. The bird had apparently fallen asleep and become trapped as the water iced over at Haileybury College in Hertfordshire. A vet later declared it fit and well. Lucky ducky. The weather forecast is next. There's more. Thames News at 10:30. Goodbye till then.
Some clear spells to the east at first this evening, but later the whole region will be cloudy and cold with a touch of frost. The low -2 degrees Celsius, 28 Fahrenheit. Tomorrow, a dry day, but mostly cloudy, though there could be some brighter spells in places. Top temperatures will be a little higher than today's, around 5 Celsius, that's 41 Fahrenheit, with a light southerly wind. And that's the weather forecast. Join us after the break because we're off to Summer Bay.